Is that working? There we go. It's because RTX decided to lose my connection. I'm using the RTX voice thing to kind of get rid of a lot of the background noise. Hopefully that works because I've got a couple of fans running at the moment. But yeah, welcome to the stream. At least I didn't do my full monologue and not actually thingy. I'm just wondering where my fan remote is. But yeah, welcome to the stream. Today I'm going to be actually doing some 3D modeling. I'm currently working on a mod at the moment, BannerLord mod, and I'm going to be modeling the gatehouse. And you'll probably figure out that in a minute when I show you some of the reference for it, for what it is. But yeah, so I'm going to be modeling that. Going to be doing some ZBrush today. So do bear with me because I don't really use ZBrush that much, but I've got my tablet ready to use for that, and then hopefully getting some texturing done as well. I did do some texturing already on the archway, but I've just re-UV'd the bit that I'd already done because I wanted to, and I'll show you that in a minute anyway. But yeah, so just before we get started, thanks. I think X3R000 for the follow. You followed while I was offline, and you've probably seen the fancy new Streamlabs countdown thing. So I'm going to try and stream. I say this all the time, but I'm going to try and stream regularly. So yeah, let me close myself off a bit there. Okay, right. So, probably hazard guess what this is from this. So I was working on the door frame in the last couple of days. Hopefully the volume's all right as well for this. But yeah, I've been working on this. It's taken me a couple of days. I also got variations of it as well. If I can find it, where did I put it? So I've got first state, second state, it's slightly damaged. Third state, damaged some more. Fourth state, damaged some more. And then final state, which is broken open. Because in BannerLord you have those 5 different states. So yeah, kind of had to model it whole and then kind of do a lot of damage. Went into ZBrush and just bashed a load of detail in there as well. Did a bit of retopologizing using quad draw to get the this state. You can see here. Kind of goes in a bit, so I had to kind of retopologize that from the high poly mesh, and yeah, so hello Frosty Mike, how's it going? So at the moment I'm just working on the stone stuff, so I'm ready to actually take this into ZBrush and start to kind of bash some of the detail in. Again, saying that because it's kind of high up, I'll show you the pure reference of it. I'm using pure reference at the moment. Like here, I'm not going to do too much detail because at this point, this is where your player eye is here. So down at the bottom is quite a bit of detail in terms of sculpting and that sort of stuff. But as soon as we get further up, it doesn't really need to be. And as soon as what I'm going to also do as well, I'm going to make a texture, a tile level texture, which kind of has this pattern work in. So that I can use that across the rest of the map on these walls. I think this is a little bit different to that one if you look at it down here. But yeah, try and get away as much trim sheeting as possible once we're thinking. But this is quite unique and it's quite close to the player. The players actually get quite close to it. If you've ever played BannerLord, you can hack and slash the gate down. So anything that's quite close, and even then. Like I'm thinking I'm going to have to put some more geometry in to this. There. I think I'm going to have to actually put some geometry into this when I re-UV it anyway, because yeah, some of the cracks, it just doesn't go in deep enough with the normal map, so I probably have to kind of put my own geometry in there just to kind of get that out. But anyway, I think the best thing to do is to do some high poly stuff. So I've got my meshes there, and I'm just going to bring these out into an FBX so that I can put it inside of ZBrush. Okay. So and I'm going to bring up ZBrush. If you've never used PureRef before, it's definitely worth it. Like I got given this pure reference on Helms Deep, and once ZBrush decides to load up, come on ZBrush, you can do it. There we go. Like so good for going in and looking at detail. So thanks Owen for setting this up for us, like sending this over. I think it was Owen who set it up. Could have been someone else. I do apologise if it was someone else. But yeah, really good reference, really good images to kind of build off. It's been really helpful for building this kind of the first bit of the tower here. So yeah, I'm just going to move that off to the side, and then yeah, go from ZBrush. So it's called PureRef. So I'll just type in the chat PureRef. It's free, but I think you can make a donation. I think I made a $5 donation for it because it's pretty handy piece of tech. Or Padlet. I also use Padlet, which is it's free and it's online, and you use a Google sign-in basically, and it's a bit like Pure Reference, but the difference is you can put like links to websites on there. I think you might be able to on PureRef. I don't know. I haven't really gone much into PureRef, but on Padlet you can definitely put links to websites where you found references and share it with people that you know and that sort of stuff. Let me just set up my drawing space. So I'm using a Wacom pen. It's an old one, Intuos something or another. I've had it in 2014, I think. So. So where am I? Games, freelance. Would it help if I went onto scenes instead of thingy? Okay. So I need to import the subtool. Ah, yeah. Wish there was a way to set project. There may be, and I don't know. And if anybody does know, comment anything like that to help me with that. Like I said, I'm not clued up too much on ZBrush, other than kind of like the basics and damaging stuff, because I don't really use it that much. So yeah, so I'm just gonna do that, bring it in as a draw that out, and I'm gonna go into edit. So I've got my thingy. Let me just change the perspective on this. Yeah, there we go. Hey Matt, is it okay if I ask your help of a 3D model transformation? Not quite sure what you mean there, but go ahead and shoot with your question and I'll see if I can answer it. If not, I'll probably be able to point you in that direction. Now, one of the things that I have done, because I've exported this as individual objects, it means that I can actually turn these on and off. So if I hold shift and click, I can turn off everything but the thing that I'm trying to sculpt. And at the moment, the total points active is 168, which means it's 168 polys. Now, if you want to find that out normally, because I think I accidentally added these in and I don't know how I did it. It's how much experience I have with what's it called? ZBrush. But if you don't know, you can actually just highlight over it and it'll tell you the polys there over the subtool that you're using. So obviously we're going to have to kind of make this bigger, because at the moment, if I try and sculpt on it, it doesn't do anything. Okay, that's because there's not enough polys in there to support the sculpt. So if we come down to here, and if we hold shift, that'll let you click open these menus, as many menus open as possible, because if we were just to click on it, so you can shut the menu above. So hold shift, left click, go on it. So we're going to subdivide this. Now, I could smooth it first, do a subdivision on a smooth, but I don't need to because I've already got a bevel in place anyway, so it's pointless. So we'll go divide, 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 divide. So at the moment it's 6,000 polys, which, okay, I can sculpt on it, but not, you can see it's pixelated and it's not things. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. You can see we start to get what we want. So I'm going to keep it at 7 for the moment. It's better to keep it lower and then kind of subdivide that. So I got told two different things with ZBrush, like, and I don't know which one's right. So kind of go with one that you know. Like a lead artist, when I used to work for a company, a lead artist said, sculpt in the bigger details first and then subdivide if you need to thingy, which I think is a good way. And then I got told the other way. And yeah, just do whatever way you think is comfortable for you. I'm going to start with subdivision 7 because I've got 98,000 polys in this one piece now. One thing I am going to do is change the material to this grey. I can't stand the red material. Okay, let's have a quick look on this. One minute 26. Oh god, it's Transformers. Why did you put Transformers in? Okay, so 1 minute 26, Mike. There's a lot of okay, so there's a lot of stuff at 126. Do you mean the car or the hand, Bumblebee's hand? But sorry, Mike. There's a lot in that scene. Are you thinking about the environment? Are you thinking about the car? Are you thinking about the Bumblebee's hand? That's what I'm asking, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the scene. The hand transforming into carbon. Oh, cannon. Okay. So the best way to do it is obviously to try and find some more images to go with this. So like if he shows the hand in different parts, maybe it's attached to him and sort of stuff, and just break it down into primitive shapes. So kind of do a block out for it. Have a look at it, kind of like when you block it out, make sure you're looking at how it will animate, because this is something that would animate. It's not something that would be static, even though if you don't animate it, Even if you're not an animator, you would need to model in such a way that an animator could come in and animate this. So break it down into its simplest of shapes, basically. Just ignore rigging for now. I'm just talking about like how the weapon would move, because that influences how you would kind of model pieces. Now, everything is a kit. Like, you think about it, when you're building a house, you don't just plonk a house down and it's done. Like, it's like a flat pack piece of furniture. You build stud walls, and then you build bricks, and then you build you have door frames that slot into door holes, I'm going to call them. So everything has natural seams, and that's how you approach 3D. You build it with natural seams in mind, because especially as an environment artist, you're going to get that, and you're going to get nice AO coming through on the crevices and that sort of stuff. But just as a starting point, just use primitive shapes and block the overall silhouette. I do this all the time, and I'm working from a block out now, so this is a block out that was given to me, and then what I'm going in is I'm detailing it, basically. So it's the same with weapon design and that sort of stuff. Is it's kind of blocking out the silhouette to get the silhouette correct, and then starting to model detail. And it's the same with weapons. It's the same with characters. It's yeah, block out and reference just to start off with is key. Like, pick as much reference up as you can of this. There could be concepts of it. There might not be. There might not be not much concept reference. And if you're learning, one thing you don't want to be doing is making stuff up on something that you're trying to recreate. Now, if it's your own design, that's another matter. But you're trying to recreate this canon from a film where there's reference. So after blocking out, you go into detail stage. So still keeping things separate. So you start to detail, which is what I'm doing on this at the moment. So at the moment, I'm taking the simple shapes and adding more geometry in there to support those shapes and make them interesting. So yeah, detailing is the next stage, where you're just detailing the model. Again, making sure that each piece of this machinery works with each other, because it is a working, running thing. And still making sure that you're keeping the silhouette to the design and that sort of stuff. And then you would then go into UV stage. So you would lay out the UVs. This is very hard surface, so I would do all the modeling inside of Maya. I wouldn't touch ZBrush for this. Some people would, because they've been trained on ZBrush. It depends what software you've been trained on. But yeah, if you're using Maya or Blender or whatever you're using 3D side, it's a lot of hard surface. I think as well, like, some of this stuff you would need to bake down the detail, because like you're not going to model every single bolt. So you would create kind of like with the weapons thing, before you go into UV and the low poly, you would create a high poly with detail, which then you're going to bake down to the low poly. Which you can start high to low. So you could do a very high detailed model and then strip down for the low poly. So like make a duplicate, strip that down, and then UV the low poly. But for this, I definitely have a high poly where it's got very fine detail, like bolts and screws and stuff like that. And then UV stage. Once you've done UV and you go into texturing. Once you've done texturing, you go into rendering and lighting. And that's the kind of breakdown for an asset. There's definitely better tutorials out there than what I've just said. But that explain those sort of details in more detail. A good website that I use is Level 80 for articles. I don't know whether there's a hand there. Ah, yes. Yeah, there is a hand. Yeah, because you've got the cannon, and then you've got the hand stage. Yeah, you would have to model them as two separate things, and then morph blend them in. Transformers is not the easiest of things to model. So depending on your experience, you might want to pick something a little bit easier to kind of, if this is the first thing you're ever modeling, you might want to pick something that doesn't transform. You might want to pick, if you want to do this kind of high detail prop, you might want to look at like engines and that sort of stuff for that. Because the hang cannon is quite an advanced technique to get all that to kind of morph and rig and animate properly. Let me just. I mean, is this is for a university project, right? Yeah. So how many weeks have you got? I mean, if you've got experience with it, then do it. Like, but I mean, it's like, I mean, if you want to be an animator and rigger, then I'd just focus on animation and rigging. Like, I wouldn't necessarily expect you to be able to. I wouldn't expect you to be able to model as well as detailed as you need to be if you were a rigger and an animator just solely. 5 weeks. I don't. Could you learn in a 3D? I'm guessing. This. Which university are you at? Oh, okay. Like I said, it just depends, but yeah, like with that sort of thing, you're looking at. Well, I really don't know how long it would take. You're not at ARU where I teach, are you? Right. Okay. I'm just thinking because like when you're asking questions about kind of the pipeline and that sort of stuff, it's something that we definitely teach our first years in the first year, and how you kind of break down an asset and that sort of stuff. So I was just genuinely inquiring. But yeah, I mean, it's in the specification of your brief. Do you have to do rigging and animating? Okay, so you're on your third year, and you have to, yeah. So yeah, I don't know, like I don't know how many headaches you would have with that because it's quite thingy. But I mean, in terms of the modeling, it's just about modeling the detail, and it shouldn't take you more than a week, 2 weeks if you solely spend on the modeling, texturing. There's a lot of softwares out there that you could use to kind of texture it. It's the rigging and animating on this part because of the morphing and being able to rigging is compulsory. Yeah, so it's like how long are you going to spend modeling? How long are you going to spend texturing? How long are you going to spend rigging? If you're solely being marked on the rigging and the animation, and the 3D is just a side thing, then you would focus more on it, picking a project where you can focus more on the rig and the animation. Maybe, I don't know, if you're still wanting to do kind of hard mechanical stuff like doing I did on my animation course. I did rigging a tank with where it would deform to landscape and stuff. So I just built a tank and then did the rigging and animation for it. I'm going to actually start sculpting while I'm talking. I'm just going to use the clay tubes brush to kind of bash in this edge here. Another tool that you could use, which I use quite often on wood, is the trim dynamic. Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, it's 5 weeks is not a lot of time. And if you're final year, you want to kind of produce stuff ready for your portfolio. And if you're not wanting to be a 3D model, but you want to be a rigger and animator, it's better to just focus on the rigging and animation and making sure that you get a decent portfolio with that, because everybody can do everything. Like, I'm gonna just quickly divide that again. I did need another division. And if I hold shift, I can snap it. And if I hold control, I can zoom in. If I press the right button on my Wacom, on control, I can zoom in. And then if I want to just move it, I use the same button, but I press Alt. And that lets me pan around the scene. And it means that I have to keep going over here. You'll probably see me doing that because I'm used to it. Yeah. But I'm constantly rotating around the object. And I'm holding Alt as well to use sub D, not sub D, the minus Z sub. Because if I'm going to add, that's what happens if I just don't press Alt. And when I press Alt, it lets me do this. And I'm checking to see what it looks like across the whole. Yeah. That can be rough here. Oh, I always do that. I'll zoom out and I'll have a look at this detail at distance, because at the end of the day, you're going to see it. It's going to be above head height, so. Well, good luck with it if you do decide to do it. It'd be cool to see the final piece. If I just want to isolate this, I can do by just holding shift and clicking the eye. It means that I can get in here and start to kind of bash this detail up. If anybody who watches this and is a pro at ZBrush and I'm doing something stupid, please let me know, because I really don't use ZBrush. When I was at university, it wasn't a thing. Or it was just coming out. So we didn't actually get any taught sessions on it. Which I kind of regret a little bit. That I didn't go out there and learn it myself, which you should be doing as an artist. That was definitely a skill that I didn't have at university, which was going out there and finding stuff for myself. Skill. Being able to self-teach. I definitely wasn't as a student. I enjoyed university a bit too much. Okay, so one of the cool things with that is, okay. I'm just trying to break the edge of the silhouette up a bit. And sometimes I will bring down the intensity a little bit. One thing I always do is, you can probably see I've just opened something up and I don't know what I've opened. I'll always then click back on and see what I've kind of done. See what it looks like. One of the tools I can do, I've got it down here actually. This is seriously. So if you want brushes to load up on start, you have to kind of specify them. So I'm going to do that now. You can see it. So I want this to load on load, and it won't normally. So what you have to do is like copy and paste it into startup. And there it's there. So trim smooth border. The reason why I want this is because if it's not going to work. If I press Alt, it's going to let me kind of like put in some of the detail back in. And if I add a square alpha, do this. And this was a tutorial that I watched the other day. Start to kind of do that. Let me just grab my pure reference back up. Okay. Okay, so a little bit too damaged for up here. Hopefully the music isn't too loud. And another brush I can use is Trim Dynamic, which kind of start to blend this in a little bit. It's not as thingy, it's more stylized. I would use that for because generally the damage isn't as it's more broad strokes if you look at that. So I normally use Trim Dynamic for like stylization, stone and that sort of stuff, and just use clay tubes and trim smooth. And merge this in so the line isn't as harsh. Okay, and then move on to the next one. So I'm just going to divide this up to, how much was this one? 8. Oh geez. Really? I'm going to go as extreme as I did on the other one. And if I didn't want to press Alt, I could just turn this on instead. And then that would be standard and I wouldn't have to press Alt. Is good. Now, another quick way would be to merge all these down and then subdivide them and then split them again apart, which I should have done really, but we'll go through it now. I don't know why that one was sitting at 1,000,000. I can be rough and ready with this. Yeah, if I'm not happy with something, I can fill it back in and then use the smooth tool, which is if you hold shift on any brush, it brings up the smooth brush. And again, I'm just going to zoom out a bit so I can see the whole thing. I'm just getting rough shapes, to be fair, at this point. A rough shape in. I'm not being too careful with it. Not obviously not doing that, because that, yeah. I'm going to press F to frame it in a bit. This will be available on Tabletop Games' YouTube channel after, as a VOD, whatever they call it. So you'll be able to check it out after. Still got to finish one of the tutorials off, which is the Unreal one for using Sequencer. We'll get around to doing that eventually. We've got other tutorials on there, Substance Painter, Maya. We've got some programming tutorials on there as well from Tommy. So yeah, do go check out Tabletop Games. We've nearly got 3,000 subscribers. Woo! Everything we make off that channel just goes back into software and that sort of stuff. Quite therapeutic, this bit. Okay. And at this point as well, I'm just going to save the scene because, yeah, I always have a tendency. Well, good luck. Do. Just give me 2 seconds while I crack my knuckles. Okay, so next stage is I'm going to put a few cracks, not many, because if I look at the reference, there isn't actually that many. I'm actually going to probably maybe damage some of this bit up. So I need to make sure I select it. It's a bit damaged, and maybe do one of these as well. Maybe here, put some corner a bit. We look at damaging a bit up here as well, just so it's kind of get a bit more damage to it. Too much. And then I need to do maybe some cracks coming off here. So I'm going to use the damp standard brush, because I do have an actual brush here where I orbs. I can do sort of stuff with it. Maybe. And then what I would do then is go in with the where are you, trim smooth, and I can wait a minute, add it to and make them less, make them more have like they are actual rocks cracks, instead of looking very cartoony. So you can do this with the damp standard. I've got an orbs crack brush which is kind of already thingy. You can also do this with very and you can get some really nice effects with using this technique of using the damp standard, and then also thingy. And on the damp standard, I also have the lazy mouse enabled, just so that I can kind of like draw out and then go softer when I want the curve to stop from doing that. And it just kind of adds a little bit to it, a little bit of variation. Or you could get a brush set. So I know, for example, one thing I did find out the other day is it's best to keep your brush sets, don't auto load them in or else you just won't be able to find them. It's better to actually keep them in Lightbox, so just put them in the normal folder and then you can find them. So I've got a few different, that was a big screenshot of my forehead there, but I've got a few different brush sets that I can use. I just got to remember which ones they are. That's what happens when you sleep. Oh, get where you put stuff. There we go. So I got these off the internet. I think they were free. So, but yeah. So let's. So yeah. So this would be kind of, I could like maybe select this brush, and then if I select this one and like kind of drag it, can start to thingy. But they, like I said, you can see that they're quite uniform, so you kind of want to then go in and with a trim smooth brush and kind of get rid of all this extra detail. This is a little bit better. And again, I can do maybe another one, so I can have a look at the Lightbox and say maybe I want something a bit like, it's a bit too deep, I think. Maybe kind of some
These ones are quite nice. Maybe something like that. Maybe I can do that on the edge actually. If I wanted to. I think that's a bit too extreme though, for my liking, so I'm just going to change that a little bit. Again, it's got to make sense. That's the thing. And a lot of these kind of brushes don't make any sense if you just drag them on and use them as like stencils. So it's kind of making sure thingy. One thing I will do, which I do like, is this this detail, which I know it says concrete detail, but it's quite good. Adding some surface detail in the rock you've already kind of damaged. And then to get rid of it, I'm just going to use the button there. So yeah, I think for now, maybe damage this one a little bit. So, tubes. Maybe like it. No, I don't think it would be struck up the top. It'd be more coming off the bottom here. So if I kind of build up, like imagine like a brick being lobbed at it, and then it's thinking. And then you probably have some cracks coming off the side. So and then come in and use the that's probably, no, I don't like that. Okay. And like using the combination of both these techniques is how you get things done faster. I mean, we've got these sort of things as well. Something like that, maybe. Again, I probably want to I also want to do on this side as well, because as a defender, you would be able to see this. The only issue is obviously you wouldn't have as much damage on the inside, so it might be just weathering, cracks coming from the outside, that sort of stuff. You wouldn't necessarily have this thingy, so probably want to kind of like, I'm saying a bit. I don't know if that might be thingy, but yeah. Make this edge less rounded, less pillowed. Let's zoom out a bit as well. So yeah, so you can start to kind of bring this up a bit. I'm going to stop talking for a bit because my throat's hurting. way too damaged. We're not going to use that one. Okay, so let me try and get this sorted. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to save, so Control S, just to save it. I'm going to probably save this as O1 as well. I kind of do increment saves with ZBrush just because I'm kind of stuck at it, that sort of stuff. I'm just going to go around and add micro surface detail on these using the this kind of detail brush here. Probably not going to come out. I want it to, but yeah. Yeah. Bit too noisy. Okay, so the next thing, there is some more pepper damage, which is pink. These ones, which are spots. I'm going to pick this one. And spread them out, maybe get a different like size of it as well. Something maybe a bit more damaged here. It's kind of like had shrapnel. So there at the top is definitely. You could go big like that if you really wanted to, but it's got size and kind of telling the story of what's going on more than anything. Again, I wouldn't do something out on the inside because it's like, how the hell did that happen? Maybe we can have some cracks coming off here, actually. So let me do some more cracks. Maybe a couple coming off here. And then going in with the trim smooth, making sure that's all nice. Just being wary of the time because I don't want to. It's actually my turn to cook food tonight, so I do need to go do that. So I probably will be only streaming till about 7 this evening. It is my turn to cook. Don't like that. So one tip is to make sure that you drag from the outside, because if I drag there, it would raise it up, so it averages it. So make sure you drag from an even surface when you're doing this with a trim smooth border. And like I said, if you want that jaggedness, make sure to put the alpha on it. So tell a story with it. Make sure you kind of do that. I could kind of do a bit more on this one. I'm not doing anything to the top of it because you're not going to see it. So yeah, there's no point doing anything to the top. It's just a bit of a waste of time. I suppose if these things broke apart and yeah, then you would have to kind of do something. The only thing so maybe just some cracking on this. Okay, I think that's enough. Okay. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now, next stage would be before I decimate this, because at the moment the whole scene is 2.7 mil.
which is, yeah, there's no way you can work with any of that data. I mean, all you're doing is data. This is data, collecting that details and pure data on those details. Data details. That's a mouthful. So what I want to do is kind of break this down so it's a bit more manageable. So what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to delete. First, I'm going to save it in case this goes wrong. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete the hire and see kind of what it does to it. Okay, I'm not going to delete the hire. It's losing its detail a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge these down and then I'm going to do a decimation on it. So the only issue is I'm hoping this doesn't finish, and that's why I saved it. I'm just going to merge down. So I do apologize if the stream got a bit laggy or anything like that because it is processing. Oh, it's still updating. See, this is, I don't know. I think this isn't going to work. Oh, it did. So then I'll just merge down the next one. So now this is 786. We'll merge down again. Because I don't want to pre-process every single one of these things and then decimate every single one individually. So I'm going to try and merge down. This might take a while. It actually might be worth me just decimating. Okay, this may end badly. And I just lost a viewer. What I might do once this has come out of its crash, I might just decimate this bit, decimate that bit, and then go from there, basically, combine them all together in a minute. Not much left, buddy.
Could take that long. I'm going to decimate this. And what this does is it basically reduces the poly counts, but while trying to keep the sculpt intact as much as possible, depending on how much you reduce it by. This is not the best way to retopologize. Best way to retopologize is maybe using Topogun or taking it into Maya and using the quad draw to kind of draw out your own topology. Because at the end of the day, you're letting the computer decide what's the best edge flow, and that might not be the best edge flow for your mesh. So don't. I only do this because I don't want to be taking 2.7 million out of ZBrush into another piece of software, because it's just gonna die. So yeah. So now that it's taken a snapshot of this, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to decimate it to say 50%. Let's see what that does. So now this is now 700,000 polys, whereas before it was 1.5, so kind of what I want. And then I can start to merge down again. Oh no. Couldn't do that. This is what screwed up. Let's try this again. So I'm just going to merge down one, decimate, merge down the other two, decimate. Just so it's quicker. Sorry, this takes ages, but if I was recording this video for tutorial, I'd speed this bit up. But hey, we're live and I can't speed it up. Oh, is it working? Yeah, it's working, I think. Right. So let's decimate this by 50. So it should be 400,000 after this. There you go. Finally figured out how that works. Okay. So okay, so merge down. Hopefully the music's alright. One thing you don't want to be doing is clicking ZBrush when this is happening because it's just processing it. So yeah, you don't want to be doing that. Okay, let's go File, Save As. Let's merge this down. You can understand why I just saved that. Okay. While I'm just waiting for this last bit to go, I'm going to put a 60-second ad break on. Okay, welcome back. Sorry, just needed a break, a little break there, stand up. Okay, so that's done now, so I can decimate this. Current. One thing I did notice, what I forgot to do was I forgot to duplicate it on the over this way and do a bit more damage on the outside, because I've actually laid it out in such a way that I'm not going to have to kind of overlay it, which is stupid of me. But we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so it's going to be there. So we're going to do decimate current. Could be, yeah, about that. Maybe we can actually go a bit lower. So let's decimate to 30%. Yeah, that's fine. And then what I can do, make sure that's selected, merge. Merge down. There we go. So now I can export this. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this to Archway. Archway Helm _ I. Because when I export this out, I don't want to put it into Mayor, because I won't be able to export it back out because I have a export limit with Mayor LT. I'm just going to put this straight into Substance Painter and then bake from there, that detail basically. But the way you could do is I could actually make a duplicate of this. And I think if I use the do not switch, I'm going to do that. Transform tool. Or transpose. I could. But yeah, on this side there isn't as much detail. And then the other side I would have to go in and clean these spots. One way of doing it. Let's try that. Let me see if I can clean it up, because I might not be able to clean it up actually. One thing I am going to do though is I'm just going to save this again. Before I do anything major, I'm just going to come off this brush, go back on. And let's see if I can actually. The crack's alright. It's just I want to put this kind of damage on, so let's see if this will work. Whether it's got enough resolution in it. Might do, might not. No. So I should have duplicated this before I started to decimate it. And then don't know whether there is a way in ZBrush to kind of flip. Because I know there's the transpose tool. Don't think there is. I could actually flip this. Okay, never mind. Let's just try it with this. So again, I'm just going to decimate this a bit. I'll pre-process current. Worst case is I could take it in Mayor and thingy, but I do need to bring the values down. It's alright. Going to go back to the standard brush so we don't get that tools in there. Let's go Z plugin, decimate process. Hello, Holly. How are you? Oh, Holly, I found the plugin that you recommended on the scheduler thing, so it's quite useful. Yeah, so I'd only recommend doing decimation once you're ready to bring it out, basically. If you need to do decimation, you might not need to. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to export it using the FBX exporter here. Make sure I just put it in the right folder. So, and then I'm going to do something, but I can't think what I was going to do. Crash said brush. Please don't crash. Please don't crash. There we go. Save it. And then go into Mayor and just bring that in. Type that. Okay, and just bring this in. I'm not bringing too much in. Like, how's that? Okay. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do now is just going to export this out. The only thing I need to make sure is that it's the same name, but with a low prefix, because inside of substance, I'm going to actually bake this out, and it's the same with this as well. So that's low. Ignoring that one for the time being. Let me just double check that I've got the UVs correct. I'm not too fussed about those. They can stay off. And they can stay there. Like I said, these faces I'm not too fussed about because they're on the upside here, on the undersides of these. But the ones that I do care about are the these two, because this is going to be thingy. Now, I did just notice something. Okay, so let's export these. Let's mesh out. So we need to make sure. Oh, forehead view. I need to make sure that these are named correctly. So when I bait them, I'm not too fussed about this one. I can actually just import those two and then it'll be fine. But so we get the bigger picture. So that's fine. So that's right. And then we've got side pillar. Gonna allow. Okay, and go freeze. Export and just going to make sure this is called low. And I'm going to close that down now and just open up Substance Painter. I think the first stream where I've managed to Gonna do a bit in May, a bit in ZBrush, and a bit in Substance. Hello, if you've just joined me. I'm currently working on a asset for a mod for BannerLord. Just been doing a bit of ZBrush sculpting, and now I'm about to do some Substance Painter. Anybody who hasn't guessed what it is, it's Gateway here. Okay, so I'm going to open a file that I'm already working on. So I'm already working on this. The reason why is I need to make sure this is in. The reason why I'm kind of bringing it into this scene is because I've kind of already started to set up the materials that I want to use on this. So yeah, that's the reason why. Yeah, I'm gonna work on that now. Now, everything's gonna break because everything is being re-UV'd. Okay, so first things first is okay. Just going a bit blank here. Right, first thing is let's get a bake. Let's just turn this off a minute. Okay, and with this, I'm going to make sure my mesh name is set to by mesh name, so match. So that's why we need to make sure the mesh is the same because they need to match. Super sampling in, that's fine. That's fine. I always get rid of dilation width because if I do, it's going to add edge padding, and I don't really want that. I keep that at the right for now, and then just bake and just wait. Hopefully it works. Okay, it hasn't worked. Okay. What is your problem? This is something's definitely amiss here. And this has kind of baked, but hasn't baked. Okay. Okay, what's your problems? Why haven't you baked properly? I mean, this could be because it hasn't come in correctly in terms of the... Right. So yeah. Now for the rest of it, I'm not too sure why it's doing what it's doing. So we'll have to kind of figure that out. It's kind of not wanting to bake stuff. Like maybe the low poly is too different to the high poly. Let's have a look at it. Okay, so let's just inflate the cage a bit. I know why that is. Why is that doing that? Okay. It's one way of fixing that. I don't know how you clear the mask though. But anyway, we'll just export this then. So. Don't think that's fixed it. Okay, so let's re-import the low poly. It's kind of working. Not sure whether that's making it worse or not. It's definitely doing something to it. What it's doing, I don't know. The other thing is I could import the low poly into the ZBrush scene, pose it, and then bring it back out. Okay, let me just create a new substance. Actually, might just need to get this to work. Trying to make an archway that I've just sculpted in ZBrush, but I'm having a little bit of difficulty with it, just mainly because of things. I think it's because the low poly is slightly different to the high poly. It's back in line with each other. Just God. Nah, it just doesn't like these bits here for some reason. I don't know why. What are you doing? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Okay, so it really doesn't like these last two bits here. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I think it's definitely because it's slightly out of line with each other. So when it's trying to calculate the bait between them, it's not working properly. No, it's not engons, Rich. It's nothing to do with engons. It's basically to do with this bit here, because the low poly is slightly out. Because I've duplicated this, it's not lining up with the original. So I think the best thing to do is to... No, I'd definitely know if it was engons, because it'd be giving me warning signs everywhere. Just deal with this. Well, I can delete that one. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to work on this in a minute. Transpose. No, do not switch. Would help if it worked. There we go. That would be an issue with that. What has gone on with you? That's yeah. Yeah, I don't know why. Let's give this a go and see if this does anything. If not, I don't think. I mean, the worst case is. Makes sense. Hey. No. No, it wasn't Engons. Definitely wasn't Engons. Just double checking so that you can't say I told you so, Rich. No, because it's still going in the same. Because even if like I go into here, let's make current. Yeah. If I just export that now, which way home? Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm just making sure, so you can't go, I told you so. Yeah, because if I bring in the high poly, it is about to die. And now it's bloody perfect, pretty much. Show you son of a gun. Alright, let's give this another go. Shall we? Oh, why didn't you work? At the moment, I'm just swearing underneath the camera at Substance Painter, Maya, and ZBrush because it's Welcome to 3D art. It's a pain in the ass sometimes. It's a pain in the ass 90% of the times. It's 90% of your job is fixing problems that you've caused or the computer's caused. But hey ho, we're here. I've managed to bake it. Okay, let's try what we originally were going to do. It really doesn't like being baked. Thank you. Don't know whether it's the scene. Let's just create a new scene. Because at the end of the day, I could actually just make a smart material in that scene, and then I've got that thingy forever. Let's give this a go. See if this will work. I can hear Zelda outside. That's why, because I put 0.001. It needs to be 0.001. 0.01. Yeah, so I'll show you that in a minute before I sign off. Cool. Kind of worked. There we go. Yeah, so a smart material would be, so if I just go back into this, so basically I've created this kind of material which has got these layers, which is like concrete, stone, grey stone, stone. Don't think I use that one now. I need to just get rid of that layer. It's a bit too extreme. Yeah, that's what. And then I've got this. No, don't use that one either. Hang on. So that's probably a better one than that one. Anyway, moving on. So I've got this fruit folder here. And say I wanted to use this material in the future. What I can do is I can create a smart material with it. So I could call this Helms Deep Stone. And if I create a smart material, I've now got this Helms Deep Stone here. But then what I can do is, so if I start a new project, it's still in the folder here. So I could just go so. And obviously it's not going to work at the moment in terms of the feather mossing because we don't have any of these ID maps done. So once I've baked the high and low, so if I just click that one and yep, make sure this is set to by mesh name, group sampling. Some paint layers that I've done. Those textures basically. I give it 2 seconds and then And there you go. And then I've just got to figure out where that damage is coming from. Flint raw. So the flint raw doesn't look. Ah, yeah, that's why. So the flint raw has already got a. It's for this bit here, but I could just then go in and paint that out. And some of it works. Extra damage. Yeah, it does, yeah. I was saying that a minute ago when... So if I wanted to kind of like make this unique damage on pieces, I could do that by doing this. And then I'd probably have to go in and completely paint this out because it's, yeah. But that's why I've got that paint layer there, because I can just come in and kind of paint this. Maybe. Never know how to zoom. Control painting, that's what you're on about. I mean, actually going in and hand painting like I'm doing now. Ah, yeah, that's what I'm doing now. See? Yeah, I never leave the filters as they are. I always go in and hand paint stuff. I'll probably make this a little bit brighter. No, this is I'm actually working on a mod, Rich, for BannerLord. Hopefully you can figure out what the mod is from that image. Yeah. Okay. So I'm kind of happy with that now, so I'm just gonna export texture. Yep. yeah, friend of mine was like, "Oh, you interested in anybody interested in doing some stuff?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'm gonna do it." And get to work with him. He's a lead artist at a studio, so like, cool. We're doing it in our spare time. There's quite a big team actually on it. So it looks like they're doing quite a bit. Okay. So the only thing I'm not happy with is just the where this is going here. So I will fix that off stream by probably merging the verts. Let's give it a go now. Screw it. I've got to go cook food yet. Can you collapse edge from here? Let's not do that. Rich, is the music too loud or is it okay? The way. Really? How about now? Do you think it needs to go up a bit higher? Hello, testing the music. Anybody on YouTube is going to be like, what the hell is going on? I'm going to put this over on there. Hey. Okay, so you can still hear me then and everything, and it's not annoying or anything. Cool. Okay, so hopefully this works. Quick way to do that is that. I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place. There we go. So the reasoning behind this is I'm thinking because it's not matching the outer wall pillar. So hopefully now, if I select all these edges, try to bevel it. So it fits in line with it. Okay, nice continuity, and there we go. Let me just. Ooh, hello. What's up with you? But that shouldn't happen. What's going on there? Okay, well, starters, I can get rid of that because that is not needed. Sorry, I need to stretch a little bit. Okay, let's try that again, shall we? then I can just grab. The reason for that is so there's no light bleeds, and then I can actually get rid of those squares that were underneath there anyway. Because it's not gonna bleed or anything. Okay, there we go. Cool, so yeah, let me get this. Let's get this into. The other thing I'm going to do with this just going to save all this so it's so I don't lose it. Yes. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Right, I need to search for Marmoset. So at the moment, I'm just checking it in Marmoset, but eventually it'll be going into the mod, but I just haven't set up access to that yet. Cool. So yeah, I mean, there's bits and bobs that I'd probably go in and clean up, especially this up here. And also. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you for tuning in. I don't know what else to say, really. I had a few problems, managed to fix those problems, mainly because of positioning of the high to low poly. So do always check to make sure that your low poly is sitting pretty much on top of your high poly, vice versa. And yeah, hopefully, well, we're definitely doing more in coming weeks on this project. And yeah, everybody keep safe, and I'll see you in the next stream. And Frosty Mike, no worries. Any more questions you have if I'm on stream, feel free to ask them about 3D. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next stream.